guys, Pete from Project Sapient. Listen up, special episode. Ayman went down to Florida. I couldn't make it. He went down to do something awesome called Operation Airborne for Vets. Those motherfuckers jumped out of World War II planes. They had an awesome time, but he also had the owner of TIL Valhalla, Korey Shaffer. He had him on the, right there with him, and they went and did an episode right at Korey's factory or warehouse or whatever kind of awesome operation he's got going on down there. So what you're about to hear is the episode that they recorded together in Florida. I'm jealous. Good job, guys. Project Sapient is a podcast meant to engage our brothers and sisters in the law enforcement and military communities in conversations that we all know we need to have. All opinions you'll hear are our own, are protected by our First Amendment of the United States Constitution, and in no way reflect or are meant to reflect the opinion of any specific agency, officer, or service member. Some opinions may be controversial. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoy.
All right, what's up? It's Ayman from Project Sapient here at lovely Florida. It's not cold here. It's cold back home. But I'm a special episode today, especially with Operation Airborne for Vets. It's been kicking off really nice and smooth. Everyone's jumping, having a great time. So without further ado, I'd like to thank our tens of thousands of listeners worldwide and check out our awesome supporters and sponsors. Here's the list. Going to be AAA Police Supply, DCD Automotive, which is the Boch Group, NUCAR Group out of Mass and Delaware, Vector Protective Barriers, Gym Junkies, HAVOK Journal, our partners at Profiles and HAVOK, Second Mission, Live Boston 617 OD Kit, GunTrack, Fit Cops, 22 Mohawks, and Joint Operations. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. So today, we got a really, really special episode. I'm actually here at TIL Valhalla, which is really, actually, it was an amazing event here. Sorry, Korey was walking all around me, and I'm like, what's going on? My ADD hit me, so... hey, you hear me all right, Korey?
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
Good. Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Sorry. Got to jerry-rig the setup a little.
No, you're good, man.
Yeah, so I was just telling our listeners I'm over here. Got invited out by you and Pam, and such an amazing time here just to see also the building of the plaques today.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was
great
remarkable.
Turnout.
Yeah.
A great turnout.
Yeah, I was saying it's really cold up in Mass, and it's nice and warm down here, so I'm happy.
Yeah. I saw some people struggling pretty bad, but everyone pulled through, and it was really phenomenal. And there was a lot of tears and a lot of good emotion in there, and I'm just glad that everyone pulled it together the way they did.
Wow. I mean, it was really cool. Even writing the messages and all that. So it was actually really cool. So what I'd like to do is tell our listeners and followers who know we're down here doing Operation Airborne for Vets, and then met with you on Sunday. Yeah, before we came.
Yep. Before
we went to Donelon, and you gave us a little history and tour of the whole facility. I mean, remarkable facility, what you've built from, which you started at your house, and now you've...
Yeah. So started in the garage 2017. It really wasn't anything big then. It was really more of just a hobby. You know, as I lost my guys and I started making memorial plaques. When I would get home from work, and it really, once we decided that we were going to take it on as a business and as a mission model, it really, that's when we started to snowball into what we're here, what we're in now. I mean, individual shops. I mean, we've branched into 7 shops in 5 years.
Talk about fast growth, huh?
Yeah, talk about a lot of moving for sure. Logistically, been a nightmare, but for growing a company and growing and growing the team, it's been a remarkable journey. So
that's awesome. And so you started 2017. You had friends who took their lives, fellow veterans took their lives. You started making plaques for them. That's kind of when you started it.
Yeah. So So I served in Afghanistan in 2012 and then 2013, and we had lost guys to suicide before I had exited. So I had exited in 2015.
Yep.
But one of my best friends ended up taking his life, and I really didn't expect it. Oh, well, as nobody does, but I really didn't expect it, because he was usually the one that was keeping everyone's energy level up and kind of keeping their mental health, on point. So
yeah.
So when it happened, it really took a lot of us by surprise, and so that one, that hero was the one who really
does that.
who really drove it home for me, and so that's when I made my first memorial plaque, was in his honor, and then after I made it in his honor, I kind of opened up that urge to keep honoring. I'm like, well, if I honored my buddy Dunstan, I'm like, okay, well, now what about Corporal Coy? What about Sergeant Beale? What about all these other guys we lost? I'm like, I can't just honor one, so it started the process of backtracking and then continuing it going forward, because, so making that first plaque was really pinnacle in getting everything where it was, because, the integrity wouldn't let me build it for one of my guys, but not the other.
Yeah.
So, started there, and like I said, here we are now, and it got around where I was kind of like the free plaque guy. So, my neighbors would come up to me and say, "Hey, don't you still make plaques? Like, how much are they? They're a couple hundred, are they a couple $100?"
Yep.
And I would say, "Well, no, I'm not gonna. If you lost a hero, I'm not gonna have you pay for it. That sounds obnoxious."
Yeah.
So, I just didn't know how to say no to someone who lost a hero and wanted to honor them. So it just kind of kept going from there and there. And like I said, it snowballed into a position where, I had to juggle either my, the business side, or if I want to go and keep going on my engineering degree.
Yeah.
And so I just ended up folding on both of them. I quit my job, dropped out of college, and just jumped in on plaques and said, I'll find a way.
Yeah.
Find a way or create a way.
Yeah, well, you created a way. I mean, sure. It's truly also your community, your workers, your employees. I mean, you could see they love the mission.
100%.
They just really enjoy giving back to the veteran community. And most of them are veterans also, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think we're a little bit closer, probably like 40% veteran operated right now.
Yep.
But a lot of that has come through like the scaling back or whatever during COVID. But other than that, I mean, when we get ramped back up, we'll be 60, 70% veterans or law enforcement.
Yeah.
My northern accent came out there for a second.
Yeah, I know, right?
Law enforcement.
Yeah. Because you're originally from Rhode Island, right? Yeah. There you go.
So I'm easily influenced. So but yeah, man. I mean, like I told them today, it is them. I'm like, TVP is them. I mean, without them, it's just my wife and I in a garage with a dream. And until these people, step up and align towards a common goal, there's, it doesn't exist. So, TVP exists because of the people, not really because of me. So
yeah. So I mean, it's funny the way you say it. That's why I think we get along, because that's kind of the same mentality I always have with anything that I do. Is not really about me. It's about the fallen soldier or officer, whoever it might be. That's why coming down here to do Operation Airborne for Vets, it was like 3 foundations or 3 or 4 organizations that put it together, because that's the only way it can be done correct. We're all veterans just come together. We're all vets, and we're like, all right, let's put this mission together. And we did it. It was more for them. And the 10 veterans that are down there doing the jumps right now, they are loving which is nice to see. That's the payback to me, right? Like, It's not about anything grand or anything like that. Like, it's all about them. That's what it's about.
100%. And I'm a firm believer in you can have both.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, what is it? The hell is it? You can't make your cake and eat it too?
Oh,
Why the hell not? Like, I can do both.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
At the same time, it's like you can grow a very healthy business with a very healthy relationship towards giving back. Like, you can build a great organization that is very healthy with giving back, philanthropy, helping people with mental health. Like, you can absolutely do that. That was one of the biggest things that was force fed to me when I was when I was starting was like, oh yeah, you know, you can't have both. You can't, you know, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I mean, it makes sense. Like the logic tracks to be able to do it. Why can't, I'm like, maybe you can't do it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like I found with Operation Airborne for Vets is, you know, these these 4 organizations have a stake, have something that they do that is unique to the veteran community. So instead of each entity working on its own, why don't we put it together into one thing?
Yeah.
And
100%.
go, because you have organization, the overall organization, W&R Vets, who's a dear friend of mine who runs it. Dave, a really, really awesome guy. He gives back to the veteran community all the time. He does airborne jumps all over the world, takes World War II soldiers with him.
That's phenomenal.
Does D-Day Normandy every year. He's actually getting ready to do another birthday for 101 years old, Pee-wee, who was one of the original paratroopers who, here you go, here's a parachute, let me know if it works. You know, type of guy.
I actually saw one of those jumps well, maybe not recently, but I saw one of those jumps where, you know, a D-Day veteran, I think he was, you know, in his early 100s or late 90s, and you know, I wrote a message to like my followers and stuff, and I said, you know, imagine being, you know, 100 years old and being able to parachute into a place that was war stricken because of the actions you taken that day. You know, I'm like, it's freaking amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, to even have that in your lifetime. So, you know, it's super commendable.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so you have W&R Vets, 22 Mohawks, which you meant, you know. So my other boy, Dave, the other Dave, you know, he started his mission, 22 Mohawks, just like how you started. He had a couple of his friends commit suicide, you know, fellow veterans, and he wants to do something about it. You know, that's his passion. As is mine, as is the other Dave, W&R, and where Samantha comes in, you haven't met her. She's the clinical psychologist who has her own foundation in California that combines psychotherapy with the gym. Nice. So she owns a gym, has an office in the gym. The clients come in, they can work out, then come talk to her, or talk to her, then go work out, and she assigns them veterans. Who are their trainers, whether it's a Ranger, Marine, whatever. So you have that veteran connection automatically. So she comes down and she talks to the 10 veterans that we have about, you know, PTSD and coping skills and all kinds of different things. And so that's why, you know, you mash all these organizations together. You get an awesome mission.
Absolutely.
You know, so that's kind of where we're at right now with Operation Airborne for Vets, and with TIL Valhalla, with what you do is pretty much parallel, kind of like get back to the veterans, Absolutely. Honor the veterans.
Well, not even just veterans, right? Like military and law enforcement, first responders. Like that's what it's. Like I said, that first day where I made a memorial plaque, I'm like, you know, how many other people in the world, you know, deserve to be honored? And I'm like, man, a lot of them. Like military, law enforcement, you know, paramedics, first responders, firefighters. Like, you know, they all serve and they all do miraculous things while, you know, that allow us to sleep. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, while I was sleeping last night, somebody's house was on fire and somebody charged in through those doors. I'm like, I was in my damn blankets. You know what I mean? So, you know, to me, that's just super, super commendable, and it's always, you know, reminisce of, you know, when you're either deployed or whether you're deployed or not. I guess you're always like, I wonder if people know what we're going through, you know, right now, like that type of stuff. You know, I wonder if people know what type of hell happens when they're sleeping.
Well, that's the thing. I think bringing it to light, you know, actually talking about it, having the difficult conversations, is how we all heal better. Yeah. You know, when we all talk with each other, you know, vet to vet, literally, where we can talk to each other about it because we understand what we went through. Nobody else in this world will ever understand what it's like to be at war or go to war or any of those. Very, very small. Even.
Well, let's hope not.
Well, yeah, I know, with the Ukraine going on.
Let's hope they don't find out.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, even as cop, you know, me, I'm active law enforcement, and even with that, same thing. It's within the law enforcement community, PTSD is massive. Yeah,
it's huge,
and it's not talked about that much. It's kind of like, you know, let's put the Band-Aid on. You know, we'll talk about it. Here's a Band-Aid. If you feel bad, let's go talk. You know, it's all Band-Aid stuff, and most of the cops, which I understand, don't trust it. going to talk to somebody because they'll think they'll get on suicide watch and be on the rubber gun squad, and that's the last thing they want in their career. And it's also pride.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not only that. It's mostly trying to maintain that tough guy persona that's always been portrayed in movies.
Yeah.
Or the guys before us. That's even the same thing of why I know some of my guys had ended up taking their lives. Is we didn't have the most difficult deployment. Only a small group of us really got into it at any larger capacity, and a lot of them felt like that they were benched. What I mean? Like, and a lot of them felt like hey, I went here and I trained and I geared myself up mentally to lay it all on the line for my country, and I was never given the chance, or I'll never add up to what my seniors were, or I'll never add up to I'll never be able to have a chance to tell or to show people how great I am.
Wow.
And that's the worst feeling. It's the worst feeling in the world. I tell people where I'm not a sports guy, but so I might this analogy might be jacked up, but like imagine being on a football team and gearing up for something great like the Super Bowl and then never being able to play.
Yeah.
And that's that's obviously putting it on a relatively positive spin, but
yeah,
guys want to fight. They want a chance to prove that they're great.
Yeah.
Not only to each other but to the world, and they want their opportunity to show their greatness. And one of the only avenues to do that is through serving.
Yeah.
And when people are robbed of that chance, or something gets in the way, it really messes with their psyche. And then, and not only that, but a lot of veterans put on this, this, like I said, tough guy, tough gal persona, where they feel like, oh, I'm not allowed to speak up about my problems, or I'm supposed to suck it up, or I'm supposed to be quiet, and I'm so over that, man.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why my mental health is better than it ever has been, is because I've given up that thing. It's like, I'll tell people when I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I'll walk into the office and say, hey, listen, I had a bad dream about, losing my dad again to cancer, and, for some reason I can't get his image out of my head.
Yeah.
I'm stuck. I'm messed up right now.
Yeah.
Just give me some time.
Yeah.
And it's like, people won't do that.
No.
People won't do that. They'll sit there, they'll lock it up, they'll put it on that, they'll put it on that jar that sits in every man's chest, put a lid on it, and then they'll wait for one day for it to explode. And it's like, there's no need.
No,
and
there isn't.
And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I haven't quite hit where I want to be, or I haven't, I'm struggling with this thing. It's like, there's so much more pride in that. But like I said, I know what it's like, because, I remember, getting back from deployment and stuff like that. And I'm like, I've never even hit an IED. It's like, why the hell do you want to?
Yeah.
It's like, stop being stupid. It's
Yeah.
like, well, most of my other guys had, Purple Hearts or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm like, man, they served way harder than I did, or
Yeah.
whatever. And then you just kind of zoom out after that, and you're like, why?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. We all had a part to play at the war, no matter what. That's what I always tell veterans. I'm like, listen, just because you went outside the wire every time and never got shot at once doesn't mean you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You're part of the mission. You went out there, you answered the call when the call was made, and you went out and you served, and that's it.
Well, what I tell people, I'm like, listen, man, like, I have every ounce of confidence that given the chance, you would have done the same thing as everybody else, right? Like, every heroic act and stuff like that. I mean, every single one of my guys, given the opportunity, some of them were given the opportunity. They were flawless individuals, and I'm like, everybody would do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, you think about people, you think about, those who served at max capacity, Medal of Honor and stuff like that. I'm like, I have every ounce of confidence that if I was getting gunned down or something like that, you would come in right after me. Like, so, I mean, like, I don't need to see it on your chest. I don't need to see it anywhere else. I'm like, you were bred for that. That's where you want to be. And that's why it bothered you so much, is because you never got the chance to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, relax, man. Like, you served, and it's not about getting the chance. It's not about drawing the short straw or whatever.
Yeah.
It's about, knowing who you are as a person, and knowing that you would be there to do that. And that should give you enough solace to keep moving forward and to build other things. But I do know that, when I got out, it did eat at me for a while, and I just had to build something that was greater than my service.
Yeah.
If I didn't, man, it wasn't going to end good. So it was about not dwelling on my service, but moving forward with it and turning it into something bigger. And that's what TVP is for me. Is like, I'm going to not be known for being a Marine. I'm going to be known for building something that honors heroes, and that's my goal. That's
pretty much, again, like I said, with what I'm doing, with where we, this organization, what we are all doing with Operation Airborne for Vets, it's exactly that. It's giving veterans the opportunity to find that purpose again, and that's what it is. And just like with HAVOK Journal, right? Their biggest thing is giving veterans a second mission. Like, find your second mission and go. Whatever you're passionate about, whatever your passion is, fucking get after it. Because every major company that I've ever talked to, head CEOs, all that stuff, they said they love having veterans on their staff or prior law enforcement on their staff, veterans, first responders. He said because we have a different mentality, because when we get the mission, and the timeline, good to go. We'll get it done, and that's what they find a lot with their veteran employees. So I always tell vets, like, hey, fucking, you guys are prized in the marketplace. You just don't know it. You just think 100%. The world, even in law enforcement, the world would like to make you think that you're broken. Because PTSD, you're a broken soldier, you're a broken cop, you can't do shit, which is far from the truth. And that's what it is kind of accepting who you are and who you became and or become, and just move forward after that.
Yeah, set your goals, move forward, and like I said, I don't know, I'm like one of the weirdest dudes I know, because it's like I said, I'm not. Am I glad that I served? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's all that, but I just don't want to dwell on it. And I think being a veteran is extremely important. But what I think is more important is realizing that, because you got a DD-214, it's not an end of your service. Like, you didn't get your value from being a veteran. You got your value from being the guy or girl to have enough balls to raise your hand to go in there. Like, that's where you gotta zoom the hell out and realize, like, that hey, I'll sign up and not know what the fuck I'm getting into. That is your valuable skill. Like, it's not even whether you got in or not, right? Like, that's your skill. That's your value. Is you're the one that in a level of uncertainty, or in a world of uncertainty, in a world of when shit's going sideways, you're going to be the one that's going to pick up, raise your hand and move forward. And it's like that right there. You don't need to be a veteran for. You can do that in law enforcement. You can do that even in the civilian world, right? It's like you can still do that and at a massive capacity, and that's what TVP was, right? I raised my hand and said, yeah, I'll do it. And it's like, oh, do you have a plan? It's like, nope.
Exactly.
Nope, but one will be laid out for me through extreme persistence. One will show up.
Yeah, exactly.
I will find it through accuracy by volume.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what, actually, I was just thinking, spoken like a Marine, full volume, just send it.
Send it. Give it the beans.
But no, that's the thing. It's like with law enforcement, I found my second mission through law enforcement at first. When I first came home, I'm looking around. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, especially having a couple of our fellow vets in our unit get killed, KIA, and I'm wearing actually their wristbands. It's that survivor's guilt. One of them, Sergeant Allers, he, last minute changed direction, fork on the road. We were going to go left. He was going to go right. And we flipped it last minute, like for some, just whatever, we flipped it. And he went down the road where he got killed. And it's that survivor's guilt too that eats at people. Not just if they never went outside the wire, they went outside, nothing happened, but those are the ones that also sometimes get overlooked, I think. Is the survivor's guilt, because it's real.
Guilt is real, yeah. I only have it in one situation, and it was just and thankfully it was, well, I don't even know if I say thankfully or not, but it was we were serving close with the Afghan National Army, and I failed to spot something that I looking in hindsight I should have spotted it, and 4 or 5 guys lost their lives. Well, one, I don't know if the other guy made it because he got medevaced. But
Yeah.
you know, it was like one of those things where I just failed to see the suicide bomber, and it eats at me. I talked to my team leader, but that's what I'm saying is I'll go talk about it, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'll not forget, but you know, I'll repress it for God knows how long, and then one day I'll be like, you know what, it's really eating at me.
Yeah.
Call up my team leader. Hey man, do you ever have survivor's guilt from, you know, whatever? And it'll be funny because he'll be like, no. I'm like, oh, come on, man. I'm the only one. He's like, yeah, well, he's like, you know, sometimes I do, but yeah, no. And then I kind of get back on track, and I remember, you know, we were kids or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, so it's good to go talk to people, but I'm not going to repress it. I'm not going to go give my wife an attitude because I got some, you know, deep, dark thoughts. I'm not going to go sit in a corner and, you know, stare into my eyebrows. So, you know, like if I'm hurting, people know, and I make it known, and like, but yeah, that's exactly right. Though, is survivor's guilt really eats at people. But I mean, it's not even war though. Like, I don't know. At this point, it just comes down to value.
Yeah, it
comes down to value. I know people who have taken many lives and who can sleep at night just fine.
Yeah,
I know people who have never fired a shot in anger who can't sleep at night, you know? So it really comes down to, you know, how are these people valuing their lives or their skill sets? How are they valuing themselves? And that's really the thing that we have to break is like, I said, I have to constantly remind people. I'm like, you know, you might have joined the military and, you know, was in charge of millions of dollars worth of gear. I mean, you know, you might have, you know, been in charge of like a hangar, or you might have been in charge. It's like, you know, or, you know, if you were blessed into some sort of leadership role, I mean, you're in charge of people's lives.
Yeah.
It's like you do all that and then you get out, especially if you're infantry. It's like you get out and it's like, okay, cool story, bro.
Yeah, now what?
Yeah, now what? Like,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now I can't even flip patties at Burger King. Like, I have no advantage over some 15-year-old kid, you know, trying to flip patties. And that's really detrimental to people's pride.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes down to. Like, you just have to understand that that's where you're hurting. That's what bothers you, and that's where you got to move forward from. That's not PTSD. You know, most of the guys I'm making memorial plaques for on a daily basis, I mean, a lot of them haven't even deployed. And like I said, I know that's not how people get PTSD, but it is a source.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people who take their lives, they're not even combat veterans, and it's like, you know, that's where you need to really zoom out. Like I said, it's like it's not that. It's the type of personality who wants to raise their hand for greatness, never gets a chance, and is so gung-ho about making a difference that if they can't make a difference, then they want to leave this earth.
Well, that's what I mean. To them, it turns into, well, what was my purpose then?
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, what the hell's the point? But that's why I'm like, I you know, thankfully I was able to find a way where I was able to zoom out and go, nope, I'll find one. I'll find one, or I'll frickin' make one.
That's,
you know what I mean?
That's
so
the
find
way.
a way, or create a way, but never create an excuse. Like, that's what I live by, and it's like, you know, so I had to find a way. So, you know, when you zoom out and it's like, oh, TVP's great and all that stuff, I'm like, listen, this was, you know, this energy was going to be channeled towards not existing anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when you turn around all that anger and all that, you know, pain, and you flip it towards another direction, you know, you're bound for greatness. So that's what, you know, that would be my word of advice to any veterans listening or anything like that. Would be like, you know, if you have, you know, pain or aggression or regret, it's like flip that over, channel it towards being great. Yeah. Because if you're on the fence or, you know, you're struggling with mental health, it's like, you know, you have to channel it somewhere else, or else you're just on a path of, you know, destruction. So, you know, turn it into a path of greatness. And it's like, you know, there's really nothing to lose.
No, I mean,
you have everything to gain.
That's the thing, kind of personal story on my end. You know, one of the Memorial Days, you know, years back, it was bad. You know, it hit me hard, really, really bad, because I did that. I never really sought therapy, and I figured, I'll just work out like a madman, and then see if that helps.
Clearly.
You know, sometimes, you know, working out for me is obviously my my deload. That's where I'm able to, you know, get rid of that anger and, you know, that aggression. If I had a bad dream the night before, I'm up in the morning already, and I go down there, hit it hard and hit it good. And it's kind of like, you know, to me, it's like I'm working my demons, you know, working them out, let them get tired. Yeah. But then again, you know, back then, even though I was doing that, it still hit me hard no matter what, especially that Memorial Day. It was like out of nowhere. It was really bad. Oh yeah, I hit the bottle hard, really bad, and it was a mess. And after that, I decided to actually seek counseling, a therapist. I'm like, you know what, I can't just do it like this. I think I hit my bottom, and sucked it up and went to the VA and got therapy. And that's the thing, it was more pride and all that shit. Yeah. And I told my therapist that, and she's like, "Oh, you're an idiot." Well, you're an idiot.
Yeah, and they always do that too, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it might be weird to say this, or it might be one of those taboo things that most people don't say. But I wanted people to know that I was struggling. Like I didn't want to suffer in silence.
Yeah.
I wanted people to know, and that wasn't for sympathy or anything like that. But I was tired. It was so exhausting to try to hide it from people. You know what I mean? Like, I'm snapping. I would snap at my wife, and she didn't do anything wrong. Nobody ever did anything wrong. It was just me being an asshole. Or struggling.
Well, that's what I started doing. Is I would start telling my wife, "Hey, I'm not feeling right. Give me a few minutes," and then and she's been awesome about it ever since I started doing that. Mm-hmm. She actually appreciates it, because versus me not wanting to go out, not wanting to socialize, just want to sit on the couch all day and do nothing. At least I tell her, give me a few minutes, and then she's really good. Then she'll come back, revisit. Hey, do you still want to go out? Yeah, let's go out. Like after that.
Exactly. And that's the same way with my wife, and it's just it took a while to get there, right? Like, but it's the same thing with like everybody else. Like in my it was exhausting when I came home and people were like, "Oh, you want to go out to eat?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want to go anywhere with you." It's like, dude, you just got back. It's like, I don't want to go anywhere.
Yep.
I want to be in my safe spot. I want to be, I want to be in my room, or I want to be in my house.
That's how I lost actually a lot of friends when I came home. They all wanted to go out partying.
I don't have any friends. So you know what I mean? Like,
well, that's a lot of my old college boys. I came home and I didn't want to go out. I'm like, nah, no thanks.
Yeah, people are just like, you came back. They're like, oh man, you didn't tell me you were back. I'm like, I kind of didn't want you to know.
Yeah, I kind of want to be left alone. I mean,
but I got to a point where I wanted people to know, and because I was like, listen, like I'd tell my my family, like, oh, have you been diagnosed? Like, yep, I have. I'm like, do you struggle? I'm like, yep, I struggle every damn day. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not a secret. It doesn't need to be a secret. There's no shame in it, and nobody's treated me any, worse. I mean, people are a hell of a lot more supportive. So, people are assuming that having troubles with your mental health is a sign of weakness, and I'm like, if you ask me, it's the exact opposite. I mean, it's a sign of not having an issue, right? Or it's like, oh, who can see people get hurt, and who can hurt people, and then walk out of that without any sort of anything. And I'm like, that's the person you might want to be a little careful of. So, but I'm like, PTSD is not a disease; it's the lack of one.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. I mean, in the law enforcement world, right? I can't be like, let's say, had an incident the day before where I walked in and it was a dead infant or whatever, something crazy, car crash, murder, whatever I see on a daily basis. They would. It's almost like you're not allowed to feel anything really, because you got to suck it all in.
Yeah, you're supposed to. You're supposed to tuck it in.
And you're at your job, the leadership, law enforcement leaders, some of them are good, some of them are not. They kind of forget about that.
We struggled with that too. I mean, even in my battalion, like people would be like, "Oh man, you thought your deployment was bad." I'd go out on deployment or I'd go out on a patrol with 12 guys and walk back with 5, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds fucking shit.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
But at the same time, you don't think that I would go out there and do the same damn thing?
Yeah.
Like, that's why we signed up. I did sign up for that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I signed up knowing that was a possibility.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm thankful that you did it, and I'm thankful that, you pulled through. But at the same time, don't think that I wouldn't do the same damn thing for you. So it's like fucking relax, dude. Like, I get it. You're seasoned, you're salty, and you drew, the deck of cards that life gave you, landed you in a spot where you go on a patrol and come back with 5 guys. I'm like, that's shitty, but don't underestimate what I would do for you as well. So just because I haven't been given the chance, you should just be thankful I haven't been given the chance. Don't rub it in my face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, really, those type of guys, those were the ones that really hurt. Like, I don't talk about that too much, but like, that's really where a lot of my guys got hurt, because it was shitty. Because when we deployed, when we deployed, we had an A team and a B team.
Okay.
And because we were supposed to be quote unquote winding down.
Yeah.
You know, that was back in 2012.
Yep.
And they were only sending 600 Marines to go take over an entire operation.
Jesus.
Which was, I was one of the first ones to go.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we got there, shit was a little sideways. I mean, we were in Sangin, so that place was just full of IEDs.
Yeah.
There wasn't many firefights or anything like that we got into over there, but like it was mainly just IEDs and you know, snipers taking care of you know, HVTs and stuff like that. And that was pretty surreal. And then, you know, I went to Kajaki, Afghanistan, and that's when you started actually getting into kinetic operations and stuff. And, you know, I was point man on all those. So, like, that's where I was. So, but then, you know, my other guys would come in, and it's like, all right, guys, like, we're ready. Like, they're hearing about, you know, us hitting IEDs, and they're hearing about us getting in engagements, and like, hell yeah, dude, I'm ready to rock it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm ready to get there. And then by the time they get there, it's like, nope, you're going to stay you're never going to leave the fob. You know, you're never going to get a chance to leave the wire. You're going to stay here, you know, you know, help people pack shit. I don't know. Or, or stand post.
Yeah.
And that really messed with them. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we're coming back like, oh my God, this shit was crazy. And they're just like, I want to be out there with you guys. Like, if you guys get hit, like, I want to be there to help you. Like, you know, and it was this really helpless feeling for them. And then, you know, we get back, and then our seniors and stuff like that would rub it in their face, or, you know, they would, oh man, you know, I don't know why you guys want to go, you know, step outside the wire because, you know, you can get killed. Like, there's nothing great about getting killed. It's like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
I understand. But we had a purpose, we had a vision, and we wanted it to be fulfilled, you know, in some way, shape, or form. And to never be able to, you know, get the chance and to be a bench warmer is going to screw my psyche indefinitely. Yeah. Until I can find some sort of way to fulfill that, it's going to screw with me indefinitely. And rubbing it in the face. Like I said, I got to the point where, you know, I was like, you know, like I said, I don't know if you call that thankfully or not, but like, you know, I did go out there and do my thing. So So, matter of fact, I led one of the last patrols where, if you like go on YouTube, I think if you look up like Operation Bullseye or something like that, like there's videos of us going out there and doing our thing. And it's like, you know, I led that patrol. Yeah. But it's like, you know, so I got to fulfill my part. Yeah. And I, like I said, I don't know if that's lucky. I call that lucky from a mental health perspective, but then also fucks you over. Fucks you over in another aspect. So it's this double-edged sword of like, you know, we think we know what we want, and then when we get it, you know, we hate it, and then, you know, whatever. But we just never want to be stripped of that thing, because you reach a level of regret. Yeah. Oh, I wish I would have signed up sooner, or I wish I would have chose another branch, because maybe I would have been able to do what I wanted to do. Yeah. Or whatever. So, you know, regret is one of the most painful, or one of the sharpest knives, you know, in the depression arsenal. Yeah. And, you know, that's really just what hurt a lot of my guys. Yeah. You know, they'd come back and, you know, we would talk about stories or crazy things that would happen, and they're like, you know, I'm out of the loop. And I'm like, and it really, you know, it kills me to this day to like think about, you know, how many conversations I had, you know, around those guys, you know, talking like my squad or whatever. And then just realizing, like, you know, they felt the same exact way. Because even at my level, right, I was like, okay, well, you know, it's not like I was spending, you know, it's not like I'm hitting IEDs twice a day or anything like that, or I'm not in firefights seven times a day like my team leaders were, or my seniors were. So, you know, to me, I'm like, I didn't amount to shit. Yeah. And then, you know, but then like I said, I just, every once in a while I zoom out and I realize, I'm like, there's always somebody bigger. There's always someone better. Yeah. You know, I was like, okay, you know, we're talking about these guys where, oh, man, you know, I'm not downplaying it. It's fucking depressing. But, you know, it's like, oh, I went on a patrol and came back with 5 guys. I'm like, yeah, that's depressing. I'm like, can you imagine D-Day going out and losing tens of thousands of people? Or, you know,
an entire platoon.
Can you imagine zooming out to World War I? Yeah. Can you imagine zooming out to, you know, God knows what? It's like, you know, we're not. We need to zoom out. We need to stop. We need to reallocate where we put our focus on where we get our value.
Exactly, and that's the thing, I think, with you know, some of the vets that love war stories. Like, I'm not a really war story type of guy, but mostly because I don't know what the other guy I'm talking to, the other veteran I'm talking to, what they're struggling with, right? I'm not going to talk to them about, oh yeah, this one time bad, blah blah blah. Like, you know, that's not what it's about. You know, my stories are my stories alone. I'm here for whatever that veteran needs, you know, or that cop, whatever they need.
And you probably know from experience, right? Like people will do that. Like people will come up and be like, "Oh, you're a veteran? Yeah, I remember this one time."
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah. You get that a lot.
I'm like, man, and then like I can't get it on my damn head because now I went back into my zone. And I'm like, yeah, I remember that. Like I remember that type of stuff, and you know, it was yeah, exactly. So you don't go up and you talk about your war stories, or you don't do anything like that, and borderline because, you know, at the end of the day, almost nobody cares. But,
yeah.
You know, like I said, I've been able to extrapolate and pull back, you know, where I get my value from. I don't get my value in telling you that I, you know, in my firefights or my ID experience or my deployment, like that is so. That's not where you should get your value from.
No.
I get my value by saying, hey, listen, you know, I've employed up to 80 veterans and patriots, you know, across the United States. You know, they all have homes, they all have cars.
Yeah.
You know, they have children, they have, you know, you're not seeing, you know, jalopies in this parking lot. You see nice vehicles. And it's like I'm able to pay them well.
Yeah.
We all are aligned in a common goal, and I'm happy with the direction we're going, and not just for me, but for them, you know.
Yeah.
These people are you know, who have been here for more than a year, you know, they came in some of the most extreme circumstances for TIL Valhalla project, and, you know, now look at them, like they're growing. A lot of them have moved up into these leadership roles, and some of them have set new paths on, you know, for their lives, and it's like, that's what I'm proud of, right? It's like, you know, how many people are we helping? And it's like, you know, okay, I've donated, you know, over $1 million towards reducing veteran suicide. How many people are walking this earth today because I struggled, or because, you know, instead of quitting, I decided to move forward? And, you know, it's just amazing to see, you know, where a little bit of reallocation of your energy can go.
Well, that's what I always tell other vets and cops and whatever, you know, who lost people or know of it. I always tell them that, you know, it's we live for them.
Yeah,
right. We live.
They would want us to move forward.
Exactly. They would want us to move forward. They would want us to do great and amazing things. That way, they can look down on us and be happy, you know, and be happy about us moving on, us moving forward, doing what we do. So that's the big thing. That's what they realize. They realize that, in fact, it is it's sure a lot more than like myself or TIL Valhalla or whatever. It's more about them.
100%.
You know, and for them, you know, the guys that we lost, the guys and gals that we lose every day, we're doing this for them, for their families, because we understand that struggle.
We're doing everything we do in their honor.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Like
exactly.
They're part of us forever.
And that's why, you know, like whenever I jump or whatever I do, you know,
you're still crazy. Just saying.
Whatever it is, crazy thing that I do, I always do it for them, you know, because that's what they probably don't want me jumping out of an airplane, but that's all right. I'll still jump out of an airplane and keep going with it, you know. But that's what it's all about, though. It's to honor them. We live to honor them, and that's as simple as it gets. And that's with all these organizations that I'm working with, WNR, 22 Mohawks, and CSRT, Combat Stress Treatment. It's called, but CSRT, just Joint Operations, all those guys just together, giving back to the veteran community in their own way, and it's just amazing to see and to be around that.
Yeah, 100%.
All the time.
I mean, and to like you said, reallocate and reprioritize where you guys are getting value from. So I mean, you guys have chosen to, instead of live for yourselves, to live for other people, and that's a great way to keep carrying on a legacy, and a great way to keep carrying on your value.
Yeah.
In life.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, but that's what it is. It's really not. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'll have a personal Instagram page, and it's all about me, and look at me. It's not about that.
Yeah.
You know, Project Sapient is about everybody else. It's about every cop that walks that street. It's about every veteran that deployed. It's about every veteran who's gonna deploy, you know, sometime soon. But that's what it's about. It's about that, you know. It's about them.
I think you guys are crushing it right now, like I said, and you know, like I said, I hope I have the balls one day to get up and jump out of a plane.
Yeah, you will next year. I'll throw you out of a plane. I'll give you 5 parachutes. How about that?
I'll do it with 5 parachutes. Deal. Absolute deal. 5 parachutes. You'd be like, it's probably more of a safety hazard. Like, I don't give a shit.
Oh no, it's fun though. It's fun, yeah. And though that jump though, that like I told you earlier, the smile on the faces of these veterans when they land and them be thanking. Again, it's not like pat on back for me. No, this is for them.
Still, I mean, it's still commendable, and you should be. I said, and it comes down to that whole. That's the other mentality that I hope to get more veterans out of. Like, give yourself a fucking pat on the back. Sorry.
No, you can swear.
Give yourself a pat on the back. I mean, it's still great what you've done, and it's like it's great what I've done. I've built some amazing things.
Oh yeah,
with some amazing people, and that's where I have confidence in saying that. I mean, and we should too. It's extremely commendable to do things for other people, but at the same time, don't forget to give yourself the credit you deserve, because that's also, what will keep you moving forward. It's like, are you proud of yourself? Because if all you ever do is just serve other people, it might not, it might not check all the boxes for you. And it's like, at the end of the day, is like, a lot of people will say like, oh, I served, just for my country. I'm like, well, I served for me too.
Yeah.
It's like, shit. It's like, I didn't just do it for for everybody else. Like I did it for me. I wanted to see who I am.
Yeah.
I want to see what I'm made of. I want to see if I'm valuable. I want to see, if I have the guts. And
I'm telling you, that's like the ultimate test for any warrior is get into the battlefield and you're battle tested. But with that being said, like we said earlier, for those warriors that didn't get a chance, channel it.
Yeah. Channel it and find out the answers. Find out the answers to the same questions, just through a different vessel.
Exactly.
And that's what I did with TVP. It's like, okay, those late nights. I mean, Tiffany and I haven't had a vacation in 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, we literally have not had a day off. I've worked every day.
Yeah.
Every day. That's not hyperbole. That's not exaggeration. That's not me being like, oh yeah, no, like, dude, the day where I was losing family and stuff like that. It's like I was still there every single day.
Yeah.
Because this is my vessel.
Yeah.
And this is what I wanted to see. It's like, because it's the same thing overseas, right? When someone passes away, or even if it's not part of your unit or anything like that, it's like the shit don't stop.
No.
You have to keep going.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's where I kind of channeled it. I wanted to find the same question, answers. I wanted to find the answers to the same questions of like, what are you made of?
Yeah.
When shit goes sideways, can you keep moving forward, or are you going to buckle?
Yeah.
And I have those answers. I know I will keep moving forward.
Yes.
I know there's not shit you're going to put in front of me that's going to make me stop.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm betting on me.
That's what it is.
And I know it comes off like borderline cocky, but it comes back to like, I understand my value now, and now I know the answers to the questions that were most important to me. I wanted to see, what do I do? What do I do when my mental health is poor? And do I, like I said, do I fold? What do I do when it comes down to profitability versus mission? Do I focus on profit, or do I focus on mission? And I know, obviously now, it's like mission.
Yeah.
Do I maintain integrity under pressure? Yes, I do. And it's like, I have the answers to the questions I wanted to know all along, that I was supposed to get out of the military, that, I might not have been able to check those boxes. And that was what's important to me. It's like, how do I want to measure myself up? Do I want to measure myself off, high integrity? Do I want to measure myself off of my extreme persistence? And so those are the things I value. I value my persistence. I'm not a very smart individual, but I'm just persistent.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. And it's like, so I know who I am as a person now, because, maybe I wasn't given the chance to go charge a machine gun hill or something like that, or, pull some guy off the X in the middle of an ambush or something like that. Like, those are the ultimate tests of integrity and how you're going to handle pressure and how you're going to value things. But most people, whether you're in the infantry or whether you deploy or not, will never even have that chance in the first place.
Yeah.
So if you're having questions about who you are as a person, you're always questioning that stuff, like, you have to go find that vessel to go figure it out.
Exactly.
That's why a lot of people go into law enforcement, right? It's
yeah.
Because you might be given that same circumstance or same situation.
Yeah.
Well, you can find those same situations in business.
Oh, yeah.
Or running a mission.
Yeah.
When it comes down to, someone needs help with something, and, like meeting you on a Sunday, right?
Yeah.
It's like, there was a ton of work to do, there's stuff to do, but it's like, would it have been easy to say, now I'm not going to link up with them. Like, hey, you know, just tell them I'm busy. Just,
Yeah.
Pam, my assistant, hey, do the tour. Like 100%.
Yeah.
But my integrity, you know, it's a test of integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get my ass up from my workstation, and I'm going to go hop in the car. I'm going to go drive an hour. I'm going to go meet this man because he's a badass. I'm going to go meet this man because you're showing interest in my mission and what we do here, and what you were doing was very respectable. So it's like, yeah, get up. So it's like, you know, you're always navigating. You're always navigating who you are as a person, and that's what life is, you know.
Yeah.
It's like you're always navigating your personality and seeing, you know, do you have that integrity? Or are you going to take the easy way out, or are you going to keep, you know, keep going against the grain, right? That's
the biggest thing. Like with me, let's say, you know, when I work out, it's that last rep I want to get in. And yeah, sure, I could be lazy and be like, you know, I'm getting tired. I'm all done. But in my head, that's not who I am. Yeah. Right. That's what I learned. Right. This is what I learned about myself is that's not who I am. Whether I'm getting smoked, you know, during basic or during boot or during getting smoked during the police academy, I never break. I never break. I just have a smile on my face and I just keep going. And that's the determination in me to just see something through. Yeah. Right. And that's what, like you said, though, you channel that. So me, I took that out of law enforcement. I took that out of my military time. And now this is where it gets channeled, whether it's the podcast and doing Operation Airborne for vets and linking up with other great veterans like yourself and, you know, getting to know them and see what their mission is, you know, and how it has helped them grow as an individual, you know, and also get back to the veteran community. Because in the end, this is what's therapy for us.
100%.
You know, my writing for HAVOK Journal is very therapeutic. I write about my time, law enforcement times, my military times, all that stuff, but it's very therapeutic because it forces me to think about it. Yeah. And also put it on paper where you
don't get to repress it.
Exactly. I don't. I'm not allowed to. Yep. So this is kind of like the avenue, the channel that I found. So with all the veterans listening out there, veterans and former cops or even current cops, current first responders, channel whatever you got going on.
100%. Like I said, figure out what you really want to know about yourself. I mean, figure out why you joined, you know, or why you served in the capacity you did. Like, you know, I said, if you serve in the, you know, in the armed forces and you go in and you want to be in the infantry, there is a specific set of questions you want to know about yourself, and that's why you stepped on those, you know, those footprints or whatever. It's like you, and if you don't have the answers for those, and you're now a veteran and you still aren't sure of those, find the vessel that helps you answer those questions. And like I said, and when you're just as determined about military service and answering those questions through serving. Or not just military service, but service in general, you know, when you channel that energy towards something like business or a mission or just something you're passionate about, you will knock it out of the frickin' park. Yeah. And you will crush it because you never worked harder than you did in the military or in the first responder or in the, you know, police academy. You never worked that hard. When you exit, you know, and the reason why you're working so hard is so you can figure out the answers to those questions. You know, well, when you get out, still go find those answers.
Exactly.
Keep going, keep moving forward. I mean, find what you're passionate about, or, you know, find what vessel is going to give you the answers to your questions, and just double, triple, quadruple down on it, and you won't regret it, because at the end of the day, you're going to find out who you are as a person, and you're going to find out how to handle, you know, the crap along the way. And you're going to figure out how to roll with the punches and really use that and channel that as a vessel, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so we're starting to get wound up for time, but so we like to end the show when we have our guests on. Just if you have a message you want to put out to the veterans and law enforcement first responder community, you know, the floor is yours. So go right ahead.
Well, I mean, I think I said most of it, but at the end of the day is just realize, you know, the people who are, or who are achieving great things in the world, I mean, there's nothing special about them. It usually comes down to being persistent and asking the right questions in life, and not looking, you know, backwards for, you know, towards other people to find your value. You know, you need to find what makes you move and what makes you, you know, get up every single day. And then when you find that, I mean, you just got to double down on it. Like there's no other place in the world where you should put energy other than finding your purpose. That should be your number one thing in life, is finding your purpose. Yeah. So, you know, just zoom out. Zoom out, find out where you want to be in life and just freaking quadruple down on it, because once, I'll tell you that it's rough. You're going to run into a lot of failure, but you have to fail forward. And, when the smoke clears and the dust settles, you're going to find yourself in a lot better place mentally. And it's just going to be a lot better place in life for you. So just don't forget, when you're down, just keep moving forward.
Awesome. All right. Well, truly appreciate your time, Korey, and also inviting me to your facility here. And we'll be talking a lot more, so I truly appreciate it.
100%, man.
All right, bro.
There you guys have it. That was Ayman from Project Sapient. I wasn't there. I mean, I was invited. I can't yell about it. But also Korey Shaffer from TIL Valhalla. Total honor to have this guy on our show. When I listened to the edits of everything going on, when I listened to the raw audio, it was amazing. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for making us the #1 military and law enforcement podcast on the planet. We love you. Stay safe. Stay sapient.